Hello, story seekers. I'm Nico.
I'm Ben, and you're listening to The Tiny Bookcase.
For this episode, we're joined by a woman whose prose writing aims to reconcile queer identity with religious motifs and an annoying mother complex. She's German, lives on a narrowboat, and is currently studying English Lit at Oxford.
She placed as a winner in the Chartium 2024 Global Create and Innovate competition, and her work has appeared in Write or Die magazine, Mosaic Lit Journal, and Gypsophila zine. Her interests include Adventure Time, John Milton, and the sea.
We would like to warmly welcome Chiara Stark.
Hello, Chiara.
Hello, I feel warmly welcomed.
You've very hotly welcomed.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think we have to do everything warmly at the moment. It's boiling.
It is rather spicy today. Yeah, lovely to meet you on mic. We were just talking beforehand about you sort of route to the podcast, but obviously we did encounter your dad, who was an incredibly positive and influential figure. It seems, and it's really nice to see someone be so supported, and obviously you're a natural talent too. So yeah, really nice to meet you.
Thanks.
I'm happy.
Sorry.
Please go on.
Oh, sorry. I don't know about natural talent, but it's nice having people around, believing that you have any sort of talent, that your skills, worth their time. It really does help.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic outlook. Now, I'm told, Chiara, that you like the sea. Tell me of your favourite voyage you've taken.
Oh goodness. Where you got that from? Well, I don't kind of sail the sea. I'm not I'm not from Moby Dick. I just live on land most of the time. I do live on a narrowboat, so I do move around once in a while, and soon I'm actually moving with a narrowboat. But I'm still learning, so I don't know about voyage. Like it's a voyage. It's more kind of little trips here and there along the canal, and they're all quite similar. The greenery and the sun, but they're all quite nice. Oh, did you mean travel voyage? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I do say things in silly ways sometimes. I can only apologise in advance for the way that I purposefully mispronounce words, which is quite unkind to someone who is speaking a second language.
No, it's fine. I wasn't sure. Sorry.
I think it's around Birmingham. They've got the things for canal boats where it will lift you up, and
Oh goodness.
You can go to different levels. Have you done that?
What do you mean, like the boat in the air?
Yeah. It puts you in like a bathtub like thing, and then Ferris wheels you up to a higher canal.
I think if I'd done
whole
that,
boat.
I would know. I don't think I've done that.
You mean like a really complex lock?
Oh,
I guess so.
I'm learning how to do locks by myself at the moment, but I haven't done this specific lock in Birmingham. No.
I hear you have to like jump off and then do stuff and then jump on again. Is that right, or is that incorrect? I am not a seaman in any way.
More in your 16th century galleon you're thinking of, Ben.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Interesting. My cousin does live on a narrowboat though, so I have some connection to this.
I feel like British people always do. I mention it and somebody always goes, "Oh yeah, I have grandparents or a cousin that lives on narrowboats." Some weird kind of family member always does, and I think I am that weird family member.
He is a famous musician, so that does make sense.
Exactly. They're always artists. They're always a bit kooky.
Well, we've actually got some stories, believe it or not, those of you that are listening. Chiara has picked a very secretive prompt for this. The word is password, and Nico, unlock me.
Password. The Zoom meeting was in an hour, but all was not well in the tech department. A mug of tea had done for it. A brown wave that had rendered £2,000 of computing excellence dead. Now all he had was a too thick placemat which could open to reveal a sticky keyboard. Panic had, insofar as it was going to, resided. There was nothing that could be done now. The fizzing had stopped, and no more smoke was coming out of it. Whenever it was lifted, however, a small pool of ever colder but no less mocking tea had formed underneath it. A plan was created, and, as was often the fail-safe when times got tough, he asked his dad. "And it's broken, is it?" his insightful father asked. "Yes, Dad. It will have shorted the motherboard, probably caused some minor component fusing too. Too much fluid at once for the safety reservoirs. I'm such an idiot." Yeah, reservoir dogs and the safety dance. I see. His father pondered a moment and flicked idly through the telly channels. Fishing program. People bidding on cardboard boxes. New cars. Old cars. Fishing again. "Dad!" he pleaded. "Yeah, I've had a think. I've got my old laptop in the attic. Not used it for a while. Bit old, but perfectly good, just like myself." He slapped his bulbous belly for effect. It wobbled pleasingly and emitted a hollow sound. "In the attic! Great!" And he was off, up the stairs, and using the strange hooked stick that dangled by the loo to unlatch the pathway to the attic. It creaked as it swung open, cascading dust and other miscellaneous particulates. He did not pause to consider the rat shit therein. Instead, he hooked feebly at the folded ladder and dragged it free. It thunked to the ground and his ascent began. The Zoom meeting was in 40 minutes. The Christmas decorations had been flung aside, boxes of long-forgotten wedding gifts tossed unceremoniously to the corners. Toys, dusty and forlorn, stared hopefully with painted eyes, but were all avoided. Then finally he found it. A box labelled Michael's Office. Michael was, in fact, another name for Dad. With a heave, he tore it open. Dry tape flaked and spiders were evicted at speed. There, upon the top, it sat, thick as a disco boot sole and twice as outdated. He hefted it, and hefted it was. It weighed more than he expected. He moved to leave, and then remembered. The charger! He dug through, tossing paperwork, an ever-pecking bird, and a Newton's cradle to be subsumed by the cobwebs. He found it at the very bottom, a coiled snake of ancient cable. Halfway down its length, a paving slab of black plastic. So elegant, the technology of that time. Seizing both, he cast about. No time to head downstairs now, no time. A single plug was available here, halfway up a wooden beam, the cables to it frayed and manky. He plugged it in to sparking cries. The plug was thrilled to once again find life. He slotted it into the machine and pushed the power button. Whir it went, but not the soft, keening hum of his now dead laptop. The grinding bellow of a bison on a dance floor. It flared to life, and a logo he did not recognize graced the screen before vanishing and leaving behind a login bar. He hadn't thought about this. He hadn't thought to ask. He wasn't going all the way downstairs. The tiny time in the corner let him know that there were 20 minutes until the Zoom call. He clicked the box and tried a boomer move. Password. 5s instead of the S's. A 90% chance of success. But, bink, no. And then, a lifeline. Do you want to activate the password recovery wizard? With no hesitation, he clicked yes. There was a clap like thunder and a glittering swirl of code. A stink of cheap coffee filled the attic, and then all dissipated, leaving behind an old man. Very old, in fact. His beard knocked his knees as they quivered. It shifted strangely as his floor-length purple robes did, adorned with stars, wobbling within his shaking movements, and the tip of a pointed hat brushing away cobwebs from the roof. "You have summoned me!" the wizard bellowed in a lilting voice. "Who the hell are you?" "I," he paused for effect, and to buffer, "am the password recovery wizard." "Bloody hell," he said. "Do you seek to recover your password and gain entry to the system?" the wizard asked. Panic had no time to set in. The clock was running down. Yes, I do want to access the computer. The password recovery wizard eyed him a moment, sizing up the challenger. Then he threw his hand out, and a staff of coiled cables appeared. Very well, begin the security questions. The world unfolded around them. The attic was gone. The groaning laptop was sat atop a mound of sand, and so too were the wizard and the young man. This did not catch his attention. What did was looming over them, a beast of mythology. A beautiful pale woman's face it had, but the body of a lion. If where you come from lions are the size of buses, that is. It spoke then, in a voice at once chilling and soothing. Its mouth never moved, but the words seemed to cascade from all directions. You must answer these questions 3, traveller. Succeed, and the way will open to you. Fail, and only death awaits. Only death? Asked the lad. Pretty standard stuff, said the wizard. Fine, ask me. The Sphinx lowered itself, so its gigantic face was level with his, and its ethereal voice spoke once more. Name the town in which you were born. The lad paused and thought a moment. This was his father's computer. He would have to be sure to think like him. Shrewsbury. The wizard whooped appreciation as the Sphinx growled. The sound shook his belly. Very well. The second question. What was the name of your first pet? The boy froze. His father had had a cat when he was young. What was it called? Mittens? Sushi? Bunker? He looked out across the dunes, anywhere but into the placid beauty of the Sphinx's porcelain face. I am waiting, boy. Mr. Scruffins! He pulled it from he knew not where. The wizard cried again. Aha, yes, the feline of great renown! The Sphinx roared, rearing its great body towards the sky. When it came down again, the face was twisted, wearing a look of pure hatred. You think yourself wise, boy, but this one you cannot answer. What was your childhood nickname? He didn't know. How could he know? He cast about for any memory that may help him. His father had many friends, many names. Which one would he choose? The Sphinx's face contorted again into a smile. It had him, or so it thought. No, nicknames are for cars and tits. What? Said the Sphinx. What did you say? Is that your answer? No. He didn't press enter, offered the wizard. Michael. My nickname was Michael. The monstrous beast bellowed and stamped its paws. Great gouts of sand were sent skyward. It opened, it cursed more, and a piercing shriek emitted from it. And then it vanished. Ha ha! You've done it! The wizard clapped him on the back. Then he stamped his staff into the sand. A great stone tablet broke the surface and rose implacably until it blocked the sun. Now, choose your new password. Unlock the pathway to your destiny. The boy did not hesitate. He stepped forward and eyed the intricately carved symbols, letters, numbers, special characters. Swift as he could, he pressed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. The world froze a moment, and the wizard spoke solemnly. Your new password cannot be the same as your previous password. Please enter a new password to continue. The boy fell to his knees and let out a pained scream. He was late for his Zoom meeting.
Beautiful. Really well executed. What a great
Thank you.
concept. And yeah, it was really funny. I like that one a lot.
I really enjoyed it. When the wizard came, I wrote down a real wizard exclamation mark. You had me kind of really like. There was enough stakes with the Zoom meeting because we
Yeah.
all know kind of the stress and the panic of something goes wrong right before an important meeting, especially when it's tech issues, because it's always tech issues.
Yeah.
But kind of, I don't know, expanding the scale to what the stakes become life and death and destiny, which is exactly how it can feel sometimes when you're late for a meeting. Yeah, really, really loved it.
Oh, I'm really glad. It's so funny to me that I work in IT for some clarity, and
That makes
you have to
sense.
set 3 security questions. And even in the world of tech, we can't escape that answer me these questions 3 thing, can we?
Mm.
There's something
Mm,
about 3 questions that is the most secure.
mm.
The
And yeah,
yeah. I thought the concept's bulletproof. Really, really cool little concept. And I love the wizard though. There's something about the way he's
yeah,
perfectly executed, like the wizard archetype. He goes on a quest, encounters a wizard. Like it worked. Like it was an
Yeah.
epic. The Sphinx as the sort of the obstacle to overcome, really good. Um, but but outside of the structure, like I thought there was some just really good bits. This idea of like going to get this '90s time capsule out with the
yes.
Yeah.
dipping bird and the Newton's cradle. Like
Mm.
if I was being like super nitpicky, I'd be like, "There's no fucking way that's gonna work." Like, does does it even know what like modern broadband is? Like, is it
So
possible to connect?
the original ending was going to be getting the password and then just discovering that there's no way it could possibly run Zoom.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
imagine it trying to download the zip file to install that. It's running off like 2 megabytes and a toothpick. It's not. It's but I completely willing to suspend my disbelief for this because it was so good. And I thought it was really funny that it had the dipping bird and the Newton's cradle and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
liked it a lot. Liked it a
It's
lot.
such a smart way to go about the prompt of password because like to approach it in the sense of time, because like as you're going through the attic and you're going kind of through the past of your family almost, because you are going through your dad's past, but also a password is kind of a person and suspended at one moment in time. It can only ever be that, right? You've only ever set a password in the past, and so it's this really nice like playing with time that you've got going on, like the themes, but also just the ticking clock of the Zoom meeting starts like in 40 minutes, 20 minutes. Like I love a ticking clock. I love the stakes. I love the tension. Yeah.
Mm. That's a great observation. I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's loads of time stuff in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll have to put a trigger warning on this one for anyone who had to go to any Zoom meetings during lockdown.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did get like a trill of like, oh, but this is the part of my brain that's for work.
I did.
um,
Part of it's based on a true story as well. I did accidentally pour an entire mug of
Ooh.
tea through a very good gaming
Oh.
laptop, which was
Oh, my condolences. I'm
not
so
ideal.
sorry.
Yeah, it was the
Did you
same
recover
way.
it?
no.
No, it was absolutely bricked.
Okay, that makes sense. I've actually had because I feel like everybody's got like a bad tech story of like something really didn't go and it was terrible and maybe turned out fine, but just again the anxiety of it is something everyone can relate to. Like I remember but from a uni interview, I had to print out a poem and analyze it like 10 minutes before the interview because they give you this like unseen poem and then they not test you, but they kind of want to hear your thoughts on it. And I remember the printer didn't work, and I'm very like paper based. I do my analysis on paper, and so I was like screaming about like, oh no, the printer doesn't work. What do I do? But yeah, it's relatable, but also again like cosmic. It's nice to bring in like a whimsical wizard and a semi divine like lioness.
It's completely commensurate with the stakes that you feel in that moment, isn't it? Like
Exactly.
the idea that a sphinx and a wizard are involved is actually just on par with how much pressure you're under when there's 40 minutes to go. Yeah, I think that's a really good observation. I like that a lot.
I
Things that I wrote
also,
down, like that were like really cool moments that maybe like the phrasing was really good. I really enjoyed paused for effect and to buffer. You know, like that like slight pause and then and to buffer. It's just really beautiful execution and a very good line. I liked frayed and manky cables. There was something about that. Like virtually everyone at some point has had to like dig around in a loft, I would have thought. It's a very and it was very evocative little bit of writing that.
What is that stuff? That
Go on.
loft gunk? Just as
Loft
an
gunk.
aside, it
Well,
just gets on stuff.
I believe it is rat shit. I think you had it on the you hit the nail on the head on that one. I think. I liked the idea of the too thick placemat line,
Yeah,
but it felt like it was like there were like 3 different bits of description inside that one sentence, and it potentially
yeah,
just could have just been one thing.
yeah.
And I know sometimes you do that where you've got like 3 really good ideas and they all go into the same sentence, but I
I
think
can't
that
kill
one,
any of my children. Yeah,
yeah, I think that one maybe just tease it out and just give it the light of day, like let it grow, let it show itself, because that's exactly what it is. Like it's an expensive tea strainer at that point, isn't it? It's a complete brick, and it's an interesting way of phrasing it, and I liked it. Yeah, the dad, the sort of living at home with the dad, and him being fairly uninterested whilst he was watching the TV, but sort of still pretending to know what he was talking about. That felt very observed. Yeah, just loved it. It was essentially Zoom-tron, right?
yeah. I guess so. There's definitely
Which
some of that to it.
yeah, like even it's his dad's game as well, isn't it? Tron. He goes into his dad's
Yeah,
game.
that's true.
that I was going to say as well. I really like the dad. He got quite a few laughs out of me, and it's really it's such a skill of like characterization that you're able to draw up really 4 distinct characters between the narrator, the dad, the Sphinx, and the wizard that I'm genuinely interested in and kind of amazed by in different ways.
Really nice. Thank you.
Well, Chiara, do you reckon
Ooh.
you've got a story for us?
Oh, what if I said no? What if I
If you
just
said
suddenly
no,
told you?
you can say no. You can walk away. You can walk away right now.
Oh,
No,
thank
there is
you.
no Sphinx that is going to eat you. You're good. Your call.
Thanks. Okay, no, don't worry. That was just a joke. I am
I
doing
know.
it. Just clarifying. Um, okay. All right. Come in. A voice looms over the intercom. On command, the door yields and swings open by itself to let me in. I edge forward, cautious but curious, and the door slams shut behind me. I want to rush in, but there's a pressure resisting my movements, like a body through thick mud, quicksand, the air like dense water pushing against me. Slower than a child through the haunted house, I trace the corridor leading on from the entrance, waiting for the boogeyman. My mind rapid and rabid, my body always behind. The corridor itself stretches further than the time it takes to reach its end, if there even is an end. No windows or clocks adorn the beige walls of the hallway, as if there were no time here whatsoever. Since when's there so much time in each minute anyway? So much space in a minute, as if this outstretched elastic time were mocking me, little me, boxed in between these walls, the ceiling too low for my taste. They're all the same shade of beige, the ceiling, the walls, the floors. This space is more of a box than a room, no trace of a lamp or a light, yet all I can see is colour. I suspect the light is supposed to be waiting for me behind the door at the end of the hallway, if there is a door. There it is, a thick-skinned barrier of a door, its lock seemingly wired to a security system. I didn't realise heaven was password protected. More of a vault in the bank than a set of pearly gates. You can't type your way into heaven either. They've apparently upgraded to voice recognition software. I suppose there's no guarantee of what awaits me in the next room, if there is another room in the first place. In fact, the password could act like the code to a bomb. Passwords open doors, whether that be to a girl's locked diary or an underground speakeasy. Open the door at your own risk and step into Pandora's room, Schrodinger's box. Imagine a room, imagine a box inhabited by the boogeyman that is the potential of possibility. As long as I wait behind the locked door, both heaven and hell wait on the other side. If I open the door, the cat will be out of the bag, and the cat might be dead too. Still waiting, I stay stuck in the in-between of this hollow and claustrophobic corridor. Enough space for the sound of my pacing steps to echo through the box. Pacing up and down, creeping along, crawling back and forth, my limbs swarming in this place like the thoughts in my mind. Rather than a room, there might be stairs behind this door, ascending or descending. Either direction is more of a risk than staying and waiting in the middle, stuck but also safe. And heaven is more of a risk anyway, it has more to live up to. Hell surely can't disappoint the way heaven can. If hell is underwhelming, that's just part of the torture. If I'm disappointed by the colours in heaven, can I retreat back to my beige? Why is heaven password protected anyway? Let me in or to keep me out? Maybe I could get used to beige. At least I know the colours this side of the door. Or the one colour, singular, at least there's any colour at all. If beige can even be called a colour. I've been staring at the walls so long, they're starting to move, to close in on me, the beige reaching out to touch me, morphing into my skin. But nothing lasts long here, and nothing passes away either. Time itself is stuck with me in this halfway hallway to hell, or to heaven, I suppose. I think I would have preferred a waiting room. Highway to hell playing on repeat through the radio, interrupted by occasional static, chairs arranged in a circle, a large glass table in the centre with Cosmo and crosswords folding into each other. Waiting for hell to call out my name like I'm at the dentist's office. I would take my seat, surrounded by useless chairs. Useless because no one else is sitting on them. That reminds me, where are the others? I can't be the only one waiting. There must be others. Where are all the people? Maybe I'd open the door if this place was crammed, but for now, I have this all to myself, this beige only for me. Why is it just me? Do I wait for them? Are they waiting for me? Have they moved forward already? On to the next room. I might be the only one stuck in this transition. Why am I so sure this isn't the destination? This might be it. A life indefinitely caught in a definite limbo. Beige might be all there is. My stomach clenches at the thought. I listen to my pulse like the ticking of a clock, the only memory of time I have. The cat is surely dead by now. Time is not stuck. I am, and time will continue racing on either side of the door, while I'm running out of time, behind this door, behind time, behind instead of forward. Sweat crawling down my back like ants down the hill, crowding into the room between my thighs. It must be the heat. I bet they're raising the temperature a degree an hour so I won't notice, or a degree per minute so I will. But there's no clocks here anyway, and no thermostat either. You'd think Purgatory would have an air conditioner. Maybe it never gets hot enough there. Low demand, I suppose. But it's hot as hell here, and the heat, it's heavy on my head. My worries spinning round and round, higher and lower, dripping out of my skin as liquid sweat. That must be it. A degree per thought. If there had been CCTV cameras overlooking the corridor, the security guards on the other side of the lens, a very small man, shaking violently, as if the anxieties dropped his body temperature. They would have heard him heaving rather than breathing, his breaths like a train engine. A very small man, not because he was short, in fact he was actually a very respectable height, but because of his posture, his body hunched over into the same U-turn he always made on the road. A man who's never taken an exit or a detour, an expert at reversing. He would be whispering doubts like they were incantations, obsessively repeating anything but the password, tracing and pacing along the same route, the one-way corridor. Trembling with an uneven mixture of anticipation and genuine terror, not because he didn't know the password, but because he didn't know exactly what the password would open to. Terrified of being left behind, but equally scared of venturing behind the door, behind the other side. This experience was all too familiar, a final replay of his life on Earth, every day like a new door, a new room. And so he spent his life in the waiting room, his heartbeat synced up to the drums of AC/DC, an overflowing mind surrounded by empty chairs. The blind shut, leaving him thinking that maybe he'd rather have no window than a closed one. I'm sure that waiting room must be patiently waiting for me. I wonder what they might have done with my room, now that I'm dead. The camera would have recorded him bursting into laughter for any time between a moment and an eternity. I'm not a child anymore. I am my own boogeyman. I'm sick of waiting between beige walls. There's no guarantee, but there's also no alternative. Anything is better than beige. My throat dry, my skin trembling, my body still, but tired of waiting, I face the door. I know the password. I might as well try it. Come in? My voice looms over the intercom. On command, the door yields and swings open by itself to let me out.
Wow, that was really good. Thank you, Chiara.
Thanks.
That was
Thank you.
really good. I enjoyed that a lot.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it was really well performed as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I actually did practice it quite a bit. So thank you.
Wow, yeah, great. That's good. No, you could tell.
That's
No, you couldn't tell that you practiced, but you could tell that you were very comfortable with it.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was really good. I liked that a
Thank
lot.
you.
It's
Thank
a
you.
great study on anxiety, like
Yeah.
not about the fear element, but really focusing on that sort of indecisiveness.
Mhm.
That it felt very true. There was, especially once when you had a line we said, an overflowing mind surrounded by empty chairs. That is an absolutely beautiful take on
Thank you.
what it feels like to be anxious about something that will invariably, and I've experienced this many times, turn out to be nothing at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone hates you, or this is going to be impossible, and then you just do it and they don't.
Yeah.
It really caught that, and to frame it with eternal damnation or the eternal divine, that's really interesting.
Very much so.
Thank you. It's yeah, I don't know. I think it's I mean, yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry. A bit nervous. Sorry.
That's okay. I don't think
Okay.
you've got any reason to be. You've told your story now, so you've
No, true. Done the hard part.
You're in
pushed
the
through
club.
that.
I think the
You are
part.
in the club, yeah.
Yeah, true. I think I was gonna say that that's the thing about the anxiety is it's never really right. It always ends up being fine, in my experience at least. Never did the world end, right? Until the world actually ends, my anxieties are just all lies, most of them.
Yeah.
And as much as once in a while they do kind of help me kind of make backup plans and be prepared for any scenario, always the worst case scenario. But most of the time, they are just debilitating and you're kind of stuck always behind and you're so scared of moving in any way, in any direction, really. And especially scared of moving forward. Yeah, it's
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
that was really well put. I mean, even if the world was ending, it would still be fucking useless to you
Yes,
because
exactly.
it wouldn't help in that situation either. You'd prefer to be locked in, really capable of making decisions at that point. You'd have thought,
Yep.
try and do something about it. Yeah, I wrote down analysis paralysis very early in that. It was great, but you also evoked it wonderfully with some fantastic turns of phrase. The same U-turn he always takes, expert at reversing. Both of those hit like hammers. Um, I also really liked stuck but safe. That had a very the cadence was good to that, but also it was very simple, but it was it worked.
Thank you.
That aside, I also liked the more kind of surreal liminal imagery that you were doing, like all the stuff with the beige and the chairs. But then where it became a bit more surreal was when you were talking about like how it could lead to a girl's locked diary or a speakeasy. And there was something about that sort of juxtaposition that just really worked for me. It just sort of brought all the color into the story for me, that bit. So I really liked that one a lot.
Thank you. Thanks.
Another line like that was Cosmo and crosswords folding into each other. Again, it's difficult to always put your finger on why a line worked for you, but these really jumped out at me. I really enjoyed the running gag of the Schrodinger's box, Schrodinger's
Thanks.
cat,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the ultimate, the cat is surely dead by now, like woven through into the other stuff you were saying. Really good, really
I
good.
was going to say, like it seems so clear to me now that I've heard your story, but I'd never thought to compare how anxious thoughts feel to Schrodinger's theories. This idea that until you make your choice, it both is the worst thing that will ever happen to you and isn't, and it's only by
Yeah,
making the choice that you can truly discover it. Like I'd
yeah.
never drawn that parallel, so that was really cool.
Thank you. Well, I think also the fact that even if it is the best thing, it, that's what I was trying to kind of raise with the high expectations of anything good, really. At least if it's bad, it can be bad in all sorts of ways, and it will still be bad, kind of, if that makes sense. If it's if the cat is still alive, it can still kind of come out and scratch you, right?
Yeah.
Just because and I think it's I don't know. It's, any single choice has kind of all possible outcomes, and if you let your anxiety run enough, it will turn all of them into something absolutely shit. You know?
Yeah, very
I-
much so. Yeah.
I did write down the line, hell surely can't disappoint like heaven can.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, there was
Thanks.
a ton of bangers in there. Really good lines.
The
Thank you.
introduction of it being heaven was really good. You said I didn't realize heaven was password protected because
Yeah.
before that it was just a room and the
Mm.
stakes shot through the roof when
Mm.
you said, yeah,
Just building
very
on that
enjoyable.
point of that like early construction. The one of the very early lines was the ceiling was too low for my taste, or the ceiling too low for my
Mhm.
taste, something like that.
Mhm.
I think that set it up really nicely to just be this very uncomfortable space.
Mm.
Like just nothing's quite right. It's not a good place to be. It's not gonna hurt you, but it's also like, do you really want to be like slightly bending down all the time?
I wanted it to feel uncomfortable. Sorry if
Yeah.
anyone did, but I really that's why I went with beige because I feel like it's such a colorless color, and I wanted it to feel like an empty space, but also a very claustrophobic space. This idea of emptiness and loneliness, and kind of the singular, but also something that's really overwhelming at the same time and closing in on you. Even though like an emptiness should be vast, right? But it's kind of the vastness of claustrophobia, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So as well,
Gosh.
not to diss my boys AC/DC because I do love them, but Highway to Hell more than twice in a row
Yeah.
is true torture.
Yeah, it's I to be fair, that song only came into the story because I really liked Halfway Hallway to Hell, and then I was like, that sounds like Highway to Hell. If I think that, somebody else might think that as they're
Yeah.
listening, and then I was like, okay, can I play with it in any way? And yeah, it's just so loud. But I think that's also what it's trying to do. But honestly, anything on loop for like 3 days, I love. I will play like I will be obsessed with something for 3 days on loop, and then at some point it just gets sickening. I'm nauseating to hear anything, to have anything be eternal in that way, any sound. Also, just on the passwords and the speakeasy and the Girls' Dog Diary, it took me a while to get to that line, just because I knew that I wanted to play with something like that, because I chose password because I feel like you can do so much with it. You can go in any direction that you'd like, and I think as whether you want to go to and I don't know. I thought about like, oh, you use passwords to get into clubs the same way like might have used a password like little lock for my diary. But yeah, I don't know. It took a while to get there, so I'm really glad you like that line. The Cosmo and Crosswords line came very naturally, just happened. The whole waiting room just kind of formed, and I tinkered with it very little as well.
It's obviously it's a nice little alliteration, but it's also just it's the concept of them folding into each other. Just that like horrible like magazine slide on a glass table. It's just hate it. Didn't like it.
The horror of the dentist's office is
Yeah.
what I was also trying to think of.
No, I really enjoy a 5-year-old issue of Home and Garden. That always really pleases me.
We have, when you have like magazines somewhere, we have some at my office at work, and one of them it's a few months out of date now, but it's just got Trump's face on it, and every time I walk in, I'm greeted by Trump's face on the side. I'm just like so I have started going over and just turning it over every now and again just to stop it from.
It's like a bad omen, like what people do with like evil objects. They have to turn them around. That's so funny.
Yep.
The next Annabelle movie is just that one magazine with Donald Trump on it. So.
Haunted objects. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I think it's your turn, Benjamin.
I think it is. I'll happily take my turn, and we'll see how we get on. This is password. Legacy Napoleon de Lacy hated receiving bad news by telegram. The clipped sentences and lack of full expression irritated him. It was like reading that American, Hemingway, and his facile perversions of the Queen's luxurious English. This one read, "I've done it." After a mad dash across Edinburgh by cab, Legacy was still holding that scrunched up scrap of paper when he boarded the next train to London. He dropped it onto the tracks. London, as ever, disgusted him. Buses like swollen red beetles dominated the roads to ferry pugnacious hoi polloi about on their days. As he hailed a cab, rubbing sleep from his eyes, he saw abhorrently short skirts on the young women, and men who had dyed their hair lurid green before making spikes of it like the Celts of yore. He shook his head as though to rid it of a bad dream. The cabby dropped him off in Belgravia, and Legacy emerged to see that many of the aristocratic homes he'd grown up neighbouring had been converted into embassies since his last visit. He shook his head again and suspected it was unlikely to be the last time that day. No one came to the door when he pulled the bell. Forsyth, though old, would never have allowed such rudeness. Legacy wondered whether this meant that the butler had followed his master into the afterlife to ensure all was neat in hell. Legacy let himself in and could not quite suppress the feeling he was an unwashed child trespassing in his father's space. The old man had died 6 months ago, but his presence could still be seen. His cane, which Legacy knew rattled because of the thin blade concealed inside its length, was nestled amongst the umbrellas by the door. His long coat, Dickensian in style, adorned the brass rail by the broad door. His portrait, hung opposite the entranceway, glared at Legacy from within its gilded frame. "Hello," Legacy spoke, not quite loud enough to disturb, but not so quiet that he could be called a coward. "Leggy, we're in here, dear," his sister's voice carried from one of the sitting rooms off the main hall. She sounded well underway already. Legacy opened the door and strode in. His sister, Vigor Eleanor de Lacy, was perched on an opulent purple and cream striped divan, like an oxpicker bird sits on its rhino. She waved a thin arm at him merrily, but did not stand to greet him. Beyond her, their other brother was adding logs to the fireplace. He was rotund, though not quite as spherical as Legacy himself, and turned to wave the iron poker in greeting. "Leggy, well, I'll be. You came." Morality Richard de Lacy put the poker back on its hook as he spoke. Legacy replied quickly. "I received your message. Why isn't Forsyth answering the door?" "Oh, I let him go." "What?" The news shocked Legacy more than perhaps it ought to have done. "Long past time he retired, don't you agree?" "No, I do not." "Well, anyway, would you like a drink? We've been ravishing wall-bangers since breakfast." Morality indicated a large pitcher on a silver tray near the divan. It was half filled with orange liquid and ice. "Scotch. Neat." He watched his brother pour him several thick fingers of the brown stuff, and then nodded thanks as he took it. "You look nervous, Maury." "Do I? Well, as the one to open the safe, it is all mine after all. It would only be natural for you to feel aggrieved, of the old man's final decree. I will, of course, make sure you and Viggy want for nothing. I don't need his money. You guessed the password, then?" "I did," said Morality, averting his eyes. "Was it swordfish?" Legacy guessed. It was always swordfish when people think up secret passwords. "That's what I said!" Vigor threw her arms in the air to emphasize her point, and then fell in a heap across the divan. She snorted once like a piglet, and then began to snore in earnest. "It was not swordfish." Morality smirked as he spoke. "And don't mind her. That was her 5th wall-banger of the day, I think." Legacy downed his drink and savoured the burn as the firewater gushed down his throat. "Let's see it, then." Morality led the way as they left Vigor sleeping in the sitting room. Together, the brothers climbed the marble staircase and walked along quiet corridors to reach their father's private rooms. It was only the 4th time he had entered those rooms in his life. Once before being sent away to school, once before being sent away to the army, and one final time before he left under his own steam for Scotland. Legacy tried to show no fear as he crossed the threshold. The first thing he noticed was how the towering walls filled with books still leant over him as though they would bury him at any moment. The second was the conspicuously unoccupied writing desk, pointed at the door, and the empty throne-like chair that was its mate. The third was the open and plundered, oversized safe at chest height in the wall behind the desk. It was obscene somehow for that portal to be left unguarded and unlocked. Legacy shook his head and then sniffed the air. The room reeked with a scent he had not known since his time in Kenya during the Mau Mau uprising. Why does it smell of gunpowder in here? Well, he shot himself. Didn't you know? No. The solicitor refrained from mentioning it when I had the will read in Edinburgh. What was inside? Deeds, account papers, quite a lot of gold. I had it moved to my vault in the Old Lady when I took control of the estate. Legacy raised his eyebrows at this rare example of his brother's prudence, and then stepped behind the desk to take a closer look. Immediately, he noticed that the door of the safe was not seated correctly. It hung at a lazy angle, and on closer inspection, he saw blast marks at the hinges and buckled metal which had been hastily repaired by a welder. What did you say the old man's password was, Maury? He asked through gritted teeth. I didn't, but if you must know, it was your name. Morality sighed, as though he was put upon to be the third child and walk ever in his elder's shadow. It was a fine show, and Legacy might have believed him, if it weren't for the blast marks, and if the old man had ever shown anything other than contempt for his children. Let's rejoin Viggy, said Legacy, and when he met Morality's eyes, he saw the same feverish panic one might observe in a rat caught in a trap. They walked in silence together to the staircase. He was half expecting the shove when it came, but it worked regardless. Morality's quick push sent him flying. The world became a dizzying mess of tumbling marble. The slight cushioning of the carpet on the stairs did very little to dull each jarring impact. When he hit the bottom, Legacy rolled across the hall and sprawled near the front door. You're not still conscious, are you? Whined Morality. Poison in your whiskey and a good tumble won't stop you. Oh no, not old Leggy. He's the big hero. Legacy clambered painfully to his feet, unsure whether to believe the jab about poison, and drew the cane from the umbrella stand. A small button on its side released the wooden sheath, and his father's blade glimmered in his hand. Morality's eyes went from narrow and gloating to wide and fearful. Come here, you wretch, snarled Legacy. Limping, he chased after his brother, who ran into the sitting room to snatch up the poker he had been using to stoke the fireplace. Legacy, wincing from the pain in his hips, legs, and back, saw that Vigor had fallen from the divan and was lying face down on the plush carpet. The distraction was enough for Morality to slash at him, which Legacy met with a hasty parry. The thick rod of the poker clanged horribly against the fine steel as the two men slashed, jabbed, and parried back and forth. Neither was young enough or fit enough to gain the upper hand through swashbuckling acts of swordsmanship. In the end, Legacy shouldered aside a weak swipe before running his brother through. Morality's face screwed up into chaotic folds of sweating flesh, and through his gritted teeth he spat. I'm not sorry. You left me all alone. Legacy watched him die, and then found no pulse in his sister's neck. He felt weak, and the throbbing pains inside and out began to eclipse his ability to think. The sudden need to not be in the house anymore came upon him, and he left the sitting room to walk outside. Beyond, Belgravia was quiet. He sat down on the bottom step before the house and tried to focus on his breathing, which remained ragged. He found he missed the cigarettes they used to smoke in the army after each atrocity. After a time, two young ruffians came along with their hair spiked up. Legacy was too exhausted to shake his head, and instead he asked for help. Excuse me, young Celts. Would you mind fetching the law? I've been poisoned by my brother. He's dead now. Don't happen to have a smoke as well, do you chaps?
That was very good fun.
Fun was the
Yes.
intention.
Yeah. Before I get into anything else, the idea of these two sort of sweaty fat blokes running around a manor house still fight each other is absolutely spectacular. So thank you.
Quite all right. That's quite all right. I feel like if I was to make a film, this is the kind of film that I would like to make. 'Cause obviously, it would have a bit more depth to it, but yeah, potentially that we definitely have to have some sort of sweating fat bloke fight, sword fight. Yeah.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Yes,
Ugh.
definitely.
Oh,
As
right.
as a currently sweating fat bloke, I can assure you that yes, that is what we need.
And I have a thought.
I love anything with kind of abstract concepts personified. I think it's so fun. I love playing with it. I love how you did it as well, giving them not just like bodies and eyes and the way you described them, but like nicknames, which makes so much sense, especially like putting them in a familial context. Obviously, they'd have nicknames for each other, but like calling Vigga Viggy is just such a like small thing that I think is so endearing.
Yeah, thank you.
I did think during it that being called Leggy would be absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, yeah, it would be.
Leggy? Oh,
Yeah, it's
no.
horrible, isn't it? Yeah.
Benjamin, you mustn't.
So they were Leggy, Maury, and Vicky. Yeah,
Mm.
ugh. It's icky.
Corpulent Leggy.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting that you went for like them being concepts. Like for me, they're actually just like crazy names that rich people give give their children.
Ooh. Oh,
But
that makes sense.
also they were deliberately named. So thank you.
I thought
Yeah,
you just had a kind of interesting take on the concept of morality, you know, in terms of it being a sweaty bloke.
I have that too. But it's yeah. I also wanted it to work as an actual story, and in my
Ooh.
experience, the more privileged your background, the weirder your name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, Legacy Napoleon de Lacy was the first name that jumped into my head as being completely outrageous in that regard.
My
So,
my
I went
first
for it.
note does say great opening, even better name. So there you go. The I've got a possibly my favourite Benism we've had in some time. Pugnacious hoi polloi. That is we were talking about $20 words in a recent
Yeah.
episode. That is a £4,500 word. That was
It also rolls off
hoi
the tongue.
polloi.
It's great to hear. It's great to say. And it gives all that exactly that the posh vibe.
Yes. Yeah. That was. Thank you. Yeah, that's the intention. Obviously, this is his internal monologue, not my internal monologue. Before Nico makes that out that that's the case.
You call me hoi polloi all the time.
Hoi polloi. I think if that was your internal monologue, Ben, you wouldn't be called Ben.
That's true. And yeah, I am called Benjamin. Does that change it? I don't know.
Um, I don't know. Maybe not really.
No, good.
Sorry.
Your middle name is Ramses, isn't it? That's good.
Oh my goodness! Like Gordon.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not really. I'm just taking the piss. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Benjamin Ramesses Holride-Dell.
I fucking wish it was. My I did the other just in terms of my name. I did get I started a new job recently, and I got a like a name badge to go with
Yeah.
the job, and they got my name wrong because everybody gets my name wrong all the time. But they spelt Holroyd Hellroyd, and I think I'm going to keep it. So
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Hell
I like
right.
that.
yeah,
I don't know why I
I,
took the Ramses as face value. By the way, I was like, yes, that makes sense as a perfectly good British middle name.
I'm afraid, as well as saying things in a silly way, I have a talent for bullshit. So
he's an
I
expert liar. Yeah.
I can tell. Do you know what? I knew this was going to be a problem before the episode. I was like, I can tell this is a very sarcastic man, and I will not be able to read the sarcasm. But that's okay as long as you as long as you catch me out. Oh, speaking of how, because you mentioned it in your surname, I liked the to ensure that to ensure all was neat in hell. It's a nice kind of I don't know. There were a lot of like neat images that the rat caught in a trap too, like small things that I really liked. I loved the line about when he shot himself. Didn't you know? Something about that. Ooh, would be like a banger opening line too. I really like it.
I'm afraid I have to cause them like a season. There was a big juicy Terry Pratchett reference in that one, Ben.
There was a huge Terry Pratchett
Ooh.
reference in that one. Yeah.
For the uninitiated, the passwords are always swordfish. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
whenever you.
I'm not. I still haven't finished Good Omens, but I'm kind of vaguely familiar with the Terry Pratchett. I was wondering about the swordfish. I was like, is everyone's password swordfish? And nobody told me because nobody tells me their passwords. But
No, sorry to give you that anxiety. No, that's not the case. It's just a reference to a book that I love. It's
oh,
takes place in Night Watch, which is one of Terry Pratchett's probably one of his best works, I would say.
Yeah.
which book?
Night Watch.
Oh, sorry, that was what it's called. Sorry.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that is a reference to the terrible movie about hacking Swordfish.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I think we're like inside a reference spiral now.
Yeah. Good grief. No, I really enjoyed it. Everything was super neat.
Mm,
Like Chiara says, everything had a place. There was nothing, even though the language was very flowery, nothing was superfluous. Like everything was there for a reason. Everything was set nicely. I mean, like we had with the smoking sword cane, didn't we? Like it was all coming together.
Yeah, Chekhov's sword cane. Yeah.
Sword cane, yeah. It was all gonna happen, and even little character things like him knowing the smell of gunpowder because he'd been in Africa, and that's why he could begin to actually scrutinize what had been done. They're all really nice things. The only thing I would potentially change is the poison in the whiskey, because he didn't drink the drink that was poisoned, and would his brother have had a chance to poison the whiskey?
Well, his brother sent him the telegram in the first instance.
It's poisoned fucking everything. What a lad.
So I think he will have poisoned the drink that he knew he was going to ask for.
Whiskey. No, thank you. Tea cake?
Yeah,
I'm
tea
fine. More sandwich? No, I must insist.
So I'm not saying I've premeditated this, but like if I was going to poison somebody, I would know what their drink was that they were going to ask for before I
I'm
poisoned.
never drinking Pepsi Max in your house ever again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's some lovely stuff.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that one, and I'm glad you guys had some fun listening to it as well.
Lots of lovely interconnections as well. Lots of
There is, yeah.
We've got some heavens and some hells, some time things going on.
Father
Lots
stuff
of
as well.
time things.
I
Lots of
was
some dad stuff.
I was gonna say I like the father stuff, especially between your guys' stories and the line from yours, Ben, an unwashed child trespassing in his father's space, which felt perfect actually to encapsulate kind of this both of your stories, but also the concept of like a looming father. And although it's not necessarily that as kind of as prominent in my story, there's still this kind of like the overarching presence of an old man, in the sky in some way.
Absolutely.
Also, I will say that both of ours, Chiara, contained a cat, although yours was or wasn't alive, and mine was definitely dead because it would have been his father's when he was a child. So
It's a nice little connection. We'll never know whether mine was dead. I mean, if it probably was, right? If you spend enough time, yeah, exactly. If you spend enough time wondering if the cat is dead, it's gonna die.
Absolutely. In fact, you're killing the cat by doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Schrodinger's mistake was making the box airtight. That cat was definitely dead.
Yeah. Did you spot any other potential connections there, Chiara? Like anything stand out to you?
I think. Well, I think I know, Ben, you like history in general, so I wasn't surprised that it would be kind of this like older concepts, like a history of like having smelt gunpowder in Kenya, that kind of thing. But I think all of us had a tie to time and to the past in some way. But I don't know. Obviously, Nicholas was kind of the most clear, I think, maybe. But again, it's what came to mind immediately for me as well when I thought about password. I was like, there's something time related here. Also about the three questions of you can only answer three questions that you've already experienced in some way, facts that have already happened. So passwords tie you to a different plane and time, I guess.
I think that's very insightful. And it produced a very good story for you. So that's a really good process you've got there. I think we're going to dig a bit more into your process in the next episode. So for the moment, I think we'll bid the audience farewell. And yeah, just thank you, Chiara. is there anywhere that people can keep up to date with your news before we close this episode?
I've only got on Instagram. It's Starry Kaz. Kaz is my nickname at uni, so whenever Chiara is taken, I'll take Kaz. So that's Starry, Starry, Kaz, C-A-Z. There you go. And I mean, that's mostly I post pictures of like cats out in the wild. So I don't know, but once in a while I'll repost a story or a magazine's post of my story, whatever, something like that. So I don't have a website or anything, but if you want to find me somewhere, find me there.
Right, you lot, go and start liking photos of cats. We know you know how. We all
Yes,
do.
please.
Right, now, tschüss, bis später.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Tiny Bookcase.
Remember to subscribe, otherwise you're going to miss out on the future fun.
Also, tell a friend. If you like this episode, link them to it.
We'd be tremendously grateful. You can follow us on Twitter at BookcaseTiny, Facebook at The Tiny Bookcase, and Instagram at BookcaseTiny for updates. Speaking of supporting the podcast, well, magic can only take one so far. The Tiny Bookcase is supported by the generosity of its patrons. Those kind souls have really kept my belly full the last year. Let's cast a spell for them, shall we? For rich ginger tones on their scalp, let us cast the Orangi Hedondo spell for Scott Byrne. And for general fabulousness, why not the Ooh La La How's Your Mother spell on Matthew McLaren?
How do you come up with that shit, man?